Hello, inmates. This is Styx. I'm here to read my winning piece from week 244B. Octo gave the prompt for us this week, and it was rhetoric about as profound as a nursery rhyme. This is a delightful prompt, and I had so much fun writing for it. It's all original. This is the only piece that happens in this universe with these characters. So you don't need any context going into this, which I know is a disappointment for you because you haven't heard my voice in like 3 months. And you miss me. Or maybe I miss you. Maybe that's the truth. With that said, we're just gonna jump right in. And I hope you enjoy it. The title of this piece is Profound. Is it just me? Said Soraya. Or does this prophecy sound like it's been through an automated translator 17 times? Richie hummed noncommittally from the other side of the room, lifting a decorative carving and weighing it in her hand. No, yeah, agreed Dev, cocking their head to peer at it from another angle. I got nothing. What? Squawked the old woman before them, 5 shades of indignant. What do you mean? It's profound. Soraya coughed uncomfortably, tugging at the end of her hijab the way she did when she was lying. Well, sure, she said. It's a part of the human condition to make meaning from... Better not to finish, Dev said, nodding at her sympathetically. Excuse me? The old woman sputtered. I'm sure it's significant to you, Soraya offered with a conciliatory smile. Oh yeah, Dev said, jumping on the train eagerly. Like, I had this little train toy when I was growing up, and I would throw it against the wall, and when it left skid marks, I thought it was a language, and it was trying to teach me how to make a perfect grilled cheese sandwich. Everyone stared at them, except Richie, of course, who was busy with something on the bookshelf. Soraya laughed nervously and said, Ignore them. Okay, the old woman said. That's probably for the best. Hey, Dev protested weakly. Anyway, the old woman cleared her throat. You must understand, she cried. You are the children of the prophecy. You must help us. It is your destiny. It really seems like that could be talking about anyone, Soraya said, her lips twisting into a dubious expression. The prophecy clearly states. The prophecy mentions a boy? Soraya pointed out. There are no boys here. The old woman blinked rapidly, her eyes darting between Richie and Dev. But... All 3 of them turned on her, their eyebrows up in silent judgment. The old woman cleared her throat. It's a translation issue. I'm sure you 3 will be just fine. Really? Said Soraya skeptically. No, that's fair, Dev said, leaning in towards Soraya conspiratorially. Lots of languages omit pronouns, so translators have to add them in translation.
and old academic types like male default language.
Yes,
said the old woman, snapping her fingers eagerly.
Exactly, that's exactly what I meant.
Still, though, Soraya said. She offered the old woman an apologetic smile. I don't think we're the ones you're looking for.
No, I am quite certain it must be you. The fate of the world depends on it.
The fate of the world? Soraya echoed, exchanging a glance with Dev. Wasn't this about restoring an ancient artifact like 2 minutes ago? It totally was, Dev agreed.
The artifact has the power to change the world as we know it.
The old woman bit, her frown pulling at the corners of her eyes. Well, okay. How? Soraya asked. What does it do? Dev added.
That I cannot tell you. It is better not to know,
the old woman said, carefully schooling her expression. She was clearly trying for sage and mysterious, but landed somewhere near constipated instead. That's... Soraya cut herself off and cleared her throat delicately. What's the word I'm looking for, Dev? I don't think you're supposed to swear in front of the elderly, Dev said, scratching their nose.
We're running out of time,
the old woman insisted, gritting her teeth.
You must.
Hi, Richie cut in. Soraya and Dev both whirled to look at her, startled at the interruption. Richie rarely spoke, but when she did, it was always important. Richie smirked at them briefly, then returned her attention to the old woman. What is it you wanted us to do again? The old woman shook out her hands.
As you would know, if you let me finish, she said irritably. You must deliver this package to my friend on the far side of the border, and he will return it to its rightful place. He is the only one I trust with a task of this magnitude.
Richie snorted. That's what I thought, she said. Come on, guys, we're going. The old woman surged forward.
Wait, but...
Richie tossed something across the room and into her hands. Soraya and Dev leaned closer to get a better look. They glimpsed a little packet of white powder before the old woman fumbled it behind her back. Oh my God, is that it? Dev said, their voice hollow with shock. Found that in the bottom of your cute little decoration here, Richie said, lifting a single imperious eyebrow. And another stash in a drawer of the bookshelf. No, Soraya gasped.
That was locked,
the old woman cried, clutching her chest with a scandalized expression. Richie shrugged. Quick fingers, she said. She opened her hand to show them all a coin, spun the coin over her knuckles, and when she held out her hand again, it was empty. Now, much as I enjoy listening to my friends tear your scam to shreds, I don't have any desire to become a drug runner, so I think we'll head out now. Drug runner, Dev repeated, their eyes the size of saucers. The old woman cursed and reached for a drawer behind her, but her fingers froze on the velvet-lined bottom. Looking for this? Richie held up her hand, dangling a pistol between her fingertips. A dainty silk handkerchief covered the handle.
You!
Your silicone nose is coming off, by the way, Richie said mildly. You might want to take care of that. She's not even old, Dev said, turning their betrayed gaze on the not-so-old woman, who ripped off her prosthetic nose with a low growl. Richie is right, Soraya said, recovering herself. She straightened up and adjusted her hijab. It's time to go. Richie nodded at her, businesslike. The two girls turned toward the door in almost unison. Good luck, Dev said to the not-so-old woman. Then they paused, shook their head, and amended, Bad luck, I mean. I hope you have terrible luck with your drug thing. The not-so-old woman screamed in frustration and lurched toward them with her hands outstretched. But before she made it 2 steps, Soraya practically materialized in front of her. Soraya cracked an elbow into the woman's jaw, then followed up with 2 swift jabs to the stomach. The woman crumpled, holding her hands over her head in mute surrender. While the would-be scammer wheezed on the floor, Dev blew Soraya a kiss. She bobbed a curtsy in response. You already called the cops, right? Soraya asked Richie. Richie answered with a nod. No time to lose, then, said Soraya. We'd better be gone before they get here. As the 3 of them walked out together, Dev sighed. It is a shame, though, they said. I've always wanted to go on a magical fantasy adventure. Don't worry, Dev. I'm sure your day will come, Soraya said, aiming a warm smile in Dev's direction. Richie shot her a sidelong glance, but didn't disagree outright. Our day, Dev corrected brightly. That's right, Soraya agreed, laughing. And our prophecy will be much more profound.
Hey, is Octo with Judge Comments. This week I actually only got 2 pieces. It was this one from Styx, and then I got a silly little thing from Rev to do with a bunch of, alliteration jokes, which was also funny. But this one won because the twist was just so funny. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I reread it 10 minutes ago. Oh, I'd still pick it. It's so funny. It's because the drug thing just really comes out of left field. You're like, this woman's insane. This woman is insane. I don't know what's happening, but she's just a crazy old bat. But then, she, A, is not even old, and B, she has, a drug running thing where she just tricks people who believe in prophecies to go across the border. It's amazing. Also, I really like all of these characters. I think they're fun and delightful. And I actually would like to see more of them doing things. I think it'd be fun if they had a little adventure in Fantasyland with their imminent logic and lockpicking abilities. So yeah, congratulations to Styx. That was perhaps the funniest thing I've read in recent memory. And that was why they won. Keep that fire burning.
Alrighty. You may have heard a piano start up in the background about halfway through the reading there. Maybe a little later in the reading. I'm not sure. Maybe you can't actually hear it. But there was piano that I could hear, and I just decided that I was not going to re-record because doing the old lady voice actually kills the vocal cords. I was trying to put gravel, in the sound of the voice, and turns out that when you do that, it feels like there's gravel in your throat. I think maybe I'm not cut out for voice acting. Voice actors have a rough job, for sure. As for the piece itself,
like I said, I had a ton of fun with this one. I really like a lot of Octo's prompts. I think they're often very playful, and you can take them a lot of different directions. With this one, I was kind of riding by the seat of my pants. The first thing that I thought of that could be as profound as a nursery rhyme is one of those silly prophecy things that they do in movies and children's books and action adventures of all varieties, right? Where you have a prophecy in an ancient language that somehow is translated into English in a way that A, makes perfect sense, and B, also rhymes somehow. So it was that like slightly ridiculous rhyme scheme that kind of inspired what was happening here. And I decided to have a couple characters really look at this quote-unquote prophecy that they'd received and kind of pick it apart, be like, why does it do that? Why does it do that? What does it actually mean? And then, the ending kind of surprised me, actually, when I was writing it. I was trying to figure out, like, what is this prophecy actually? Because I had decided that it was not going to be real. And, I think that the concept of having it be about running drugs is so funny. Because you do often get people in that genre of story trying to, deliver something from place to place. The delivery plotline, I feel like, is pretty common. Maybe it's just the books that I'm reading, but I do think that there are a fair few fantasy artifact delivery type of things. So yeah, I decided that my fake prophecy would be about, some kind of fantastical object delivery, and then it was a pretty quick jump, right? To be like, well, what are they actually delivering? And it was drugs. So, you vicariously experienced my journey writing this piece. I don't have anything more profound to add to that. Just that I was wildin' playing with tropes, and I like the way that it turned out. Since I don't have anything else to say, I will give you my prompt for next week, which is swear word world building. Oh, I think this is so fun. I like swearing. That sounds so funny. Yes, I like to swear. I have a real potty mouth, you can tell. I do think that my pieces in my writing, characters tend to swear more than in most of the other Scorch writers. Hopefully not an excessive amount. You can be the judge of that, I suppose. But I like swearing because I feel like it shows a really interesting, human, relatable side of the characters in the world, and it also has a way of showing what the significant items and deities and concepts in the world really are. Because, in our speech, we have swears that relate to God, we have swears that relate to the devil, we have swears that relate to sex, we have swears that relate to regular, human bowel movements, etc., And some of those things are things that would probably cross over into any world, but like in a world where the concept of God is wildly different, you'd end up with a really wildly different set of swears. Or if you have a culture where shipbuilding or fishing or hunting is really important, then you might end up with a different set of swears. Like, I don't know, could curse someone with their sword breaking instead of telling them to fuck off. I just think that it reveals a lot when you world build through the swear words that people use. And not only does it world build, it also builds character. And it tells you what kind of characters you're dealing with, and you can kind of indicate the intensity of different swear words by how other characters react and what kind of characters use different kinds of swears. And all that is just fascinating and fun, and I like to incorporate it into my own writing when I can. So I was like, hey, let's see this happen in my friend's writing. And then I gave them the prompt. There you have it. Very long-winded explanation there. That's all I've got for you today. That plus a little teaser into next week. Next week, I think, is the way the publishing schedule turns out. But you'll hear from me in the judges' comments on that one. So it won't be such a tragically long break until the next time you hear from me again. All right, keep those fires burning.
The Cellblock Scorch is a production of Stellacore, an independent group of nerds sharing their obsessions with the world. Links to all our projects, including Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, Patreon, and Ko-Fi, can be found on our Linktree, posted in each episode description. Follow us on Tumblr or Instagram to see the prompt of the day before the episode drops, and a quote from each Scorch the day after. If you would like to support our creative endeavors, you can give a one-time tip to the Ko-Fi of the writer of your favorite Scorches, or check out our Patreon. There, you can access the Scorches and episode transcripts for free, or sign up for Spark level support for $5 a month to gain access to our embers as well.